If your quest for longevity feels overwhelming, here's some good news. It starts with one simple daily habit. MitoPure gummies from Timeline. They're the first ever longevity gummies that ignite mitophagy, your body's natural anti-aging pathway. MitoPure is a clinically validated solution backed by over 15 years of research. MitoPure gummies utilize a powerful compound that redefines what's possible for your longevity. MitoPure produces the first ever urolithin A gummies that support your cellular energy so you feel strong, clear, and vibrant. Boost your cellular energy and enhance muscle strength and endurance, all without changing your diet or exercise routine. As someone who loves to stay active, I've noticed a significant boost in my workouts since I started using it. I feel stronger and more energized, and my recovery time has improved dramatically. Better recovery starts at the cellular level. For more information and to order, just go to timeline.com/Hoffman. Use coupon code Hoffman at checkout for 20% off. That's timeline.com/Hoffman for 20% off MitoPure gummies with code Hoffman. Welcome to today's Intelligent Medicine Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Ronald Hoffman, and today I have the unusual perspective that I know very little about the subject that we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about mushroom medicine. We're going to talk about the impact of mushrooms. Yeah, we know they support immunity, but they also have beneficial effects for mood and sleep, as well as for cognition. And I can think of no better person to address this than one of our point-and-shoot experts. He's been a frequent guest here on Intelligent Medicine. He's Jim Laval. And Jim has a wide variety of qualifications. He's a really, really great health communicator, and he's well known to our Intelligent Medicine audience. So, Jim, welcome. And I understand you're about to testify before Congress. What did you do wrong?
No, it's in front of this FDA actually regarding the peptides and what we're doing. So I didn't do anything wrong. I guess I wrote good books and educated well on peptides. So,
Okay. And so that just to refresh our listeners' memory, because we did a podcast on the subject, peptides, kind of controversial, something that's advocated by MAHA and RFK Jr., that we want more access to these essentially natural compounds, but natural compounds that perhaps have not gone through the normal pharmaceutical channels. We believe that we should have free access to beneficial compounds that have healing effects and immune supporting effects. And so, I think you're really the perfect representative of the responsible use of peptides.
Well, I appreciate that. And I think there's going to be a lot of changes that will come up. And we're going to find out that a lot of the botanicals and the nutrients that we've kind of relied on for all these years probably had some peptides in them anyway, right? Now that we're focusing on it. So I think it's very important that, you gotta stand up for keeping people healthy, which is different than the traditional FDA stance, which is, does this particular agent work in a disease? Mm-hmm. We're, of course, trying to keep people well, which is a little bit trickier, right?
Indeed. Really needs to be the priority. All right. So, let's move into the arena of medicinal mushrooms, or, perhaps nutraceutical mushrooms. And, I know a bit about this. I've known about, reishi mushrooms, and I've known about, some of the immune supportive mushrooms, like turkey tail, things like that. But I understand that Kyolic H. garlic extract, which is renowned for its H. garlic extract formula, which is a cardiovascular protectant and so much more. We've talked about that. But they've actually embarked on an effort to introduce a line of nutraceutical mushroom-based products.
That's right. Yeah, and everybody understands that there's culinary mushrooms. There's a lot of hoopla, obviously, right now about more medicinal mushrooms, as in the psychedelics that are being used for PTSD. These are the nutraceuticals. So these are mushrooms that have a clinical value to help people to, stay young, feel more vibrant, think clearer, sleep better, right? And there's a lot of synergy between, you think about it, garlic and mushrooms, it really is where people are looking to find solutions. Where can I get things that are extracted from food or, obviously natural base that keeps them well. So I think there's I think it's a very exciting, especially because of, once again, the way Wakanaga or the folks from Kyolic, they approach this is, where am I going to find the best possible mushrooms to be able to be used in a compound, right? And I think that's what is always exciting when I see what they're doing when they're bringing out new formulations.
And so, from what I've heard, there's a lot of options available. I mean, there are many, many different medicinal mushrooms, but it sounds like Kyolic has taken extra pains to source really high quality mushroom extract. So supposedly, there's this company, Namex. Are you familiar with it?
Namex.
They say a leader in science-backed functional mushrooms. So what's that all about? And how do we differentiate their mushroom formula from, some of the brands that are available?
Yeah. So, I mean, the first thing is that you're using the fruiting body, not the mycelium. So what the mycelium is the growth medium that they grow in. But what you're utilizing is the fruiting body that contains all of the kind of potent compounds that give the mushroom its property. And then they concentrate that. So it's organic. They use the fruiting body, and then they concentrate the extract to create a very potent finished product. So, when you think about it, you'll see a lot of mushroom extracts. If it's cheap, if you're going to the shelf and you're seeing a mushroom extract and you're looking for it because you heard about lion's mane or you heard about reishi, or you've heard about chaga, if it's cheap, it was probably made from the mycelium, or basically the growing medium, the waste product versus the quality fruiting body.
Indeed. And it seems like the Japanese are really experts in this. Wakanaga is Japanese, originally a company, but obviously they have a big footprint in the United States. But a lot of their R&D comes out of Japan. And from what I understand, that medicinal mushrooms are a big part of traditional Chinese medicine and traditional Japanese medicine, which are kind of, closely related.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I think for good reason. When you look at what I would call the fingerprint of a mushroom, right? When they do these extractions, there are a lot of bioactive compounds in them. And so it makes sense that it would have gotten rooted in in that basis of Chinese and Japanese medicine, because honestly, not all mushrooms. I mean, today that's the issue. Not all mushrooms actually are that active because of the quality. Maybe they're spraying pesticides, so all of the materials are tested to make sure that it doesn't contain any of those things, so that you're only using natural methods to grow them. I would say more of a traditional approach, right? So if you think about in traditional Chinese medicine or in Japanese medicine, they're going out and growing them in the land, and they weren't growing them in hothouses and spraying them with the mold inhibitors, right? They're trying to get things to they're trying to get the best possible extraction. And I think that kind of just fits the Wakanaga way.
Indeed. So, okay, what is the potential application of mushrooms to sleep and relaxation? Because one of the products is the Kyolic Specialty Series Sleep Mushrooms. It says, this gentle nighttime supplement features organic reishi mushrooms, et cetera, with other synergistic ingredients. So how did they come up with that?
Yeah, I think let's go through the formula because I think, reishi has been known for calming the, nervous system for years, right? That's been a, I know for myself, probably the last 30 years of, of working with natural compounds. So if, you look at the sleep mushroom complex, it's kind of an interesting combination, because it gives you several key ingredients that you're looking for. And, so if you look at one, obviously you get 190 milligrams of reishi.
Hmm.
So now that 190 milligrams is an 8-to-1 extract of 190 milligrams. So you just have to remember it's a very powerful concentrated amount that's in that 190 milligrams. If
It
you were
may
going to eat
represent the
that,
content of many mushrooms, right?
yeah, it would
Yeah.
be exactly. And it's interesting. I've had a few people that have used this that I've talked to, and the serving size is 1 or 2 capsules. And some people they get a great night's sleep on one. Other people try two. Obviously, 100 milligrams of suntheanine in one.
Hmm.
Suntheanine itself blocks, glutamate, helps to upregulate GABA, helps with alpha waves in your sleep. And if you do 2 capsules, 200 milligrams, that's a full therapeutic dose.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you've got some valerian root in it, in addition to the aged garlic extract, which a lot of people don't realize aged garlic has a dramatic effect on your nervous system. Otherwise, it wouldn't be that good for your blood vessels.
So correct a misconception because some people think that valerian is like natural Valium. Is it
They both start with a V.
right? And
So
and they haven't. If they start
it
with
must,
VALs, it's pretty,
yeah,
pretty
yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, valerian root is not a natural Valium, and Valium did not get extracted from valerian
Thank
root.
you, thank you.
So, but valerian's once again great for GABA,
Hmm.
great for calming the nervous system, really good at helping to support a little bit of serotonin production. So it's very calming.
Yeah,
Now
it's a
there are
tried and
different.
true traditional
Oh,
sleep aid, and
I mean,
with a non-addictive profile. But it does.
100 years.
When I've taken valerian, it it has this sort of mild, relaxing effect. You just feel calmer without feeling knocked out or unable to operate machinery, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think when you combine it with the theanine, because that's the other thing that theanine does, it's more calming. It's not there to knock you out and give you a hangover. And by the way, when you think about this, it makes a lot of sense because, you know, sleep disturbances are a disorder of hyperarousal, right? Your brain takes on too much stress during the day and can't get rid of it at night. Now, I'm not including obstructive sleep apnea, different
Hmm.
story.
Yeah.
But for most people who their mind's racing at night, or they wake up in the middle of the night and they're thinking about work or thinking about what they got to do the next day, you want to try to calm the mind,
Hmm.
right? So this is a great product because it kind of plays multiple keys related to a good night's sleep.
Okay, folks, at this point, let's pause and allow one of our sponsors an opportunity to share an important message with you. So here goes. Please listen up. If your quest for longevity feels overwhelming, here's some good news. It starts with one simple daily habit. MitoPure gummies from Timeline. They're the first ever longevity gummies that ignite mitophagy, your body's natural anti-aging pathway. MitoPure is a clinically validated solution backed by over 15 years of research. MitoPure gummies utilize a powerful compound that redefines what's possible for your longevity. MitoPure produces the first ever urolithin A gummies that support your cellular energy so you feel strong, clear, and vibrant. Boost your cellular energy and enhance muscle strength and endurance, all without changing your diet or exercise routine. As someone who loves to stay active, I've noticed a significant boost in my workouts since I started using it. I feel stronger and more energized, and my recovery time has improved dramatically. Better recovery starts at the cellular level. For more information and to order, just go to timeline.com/Hoffman. Use coupon code Hoffman at checkout for 20% off. That's timeline.com/Hoffman for 20% off MitoPure gummies with code Hoffman.
Has your digestive health been striking out due to poor food choices, medications, stress, and other lifestyle issues? This season, hit a home run for your digestive health with Dr. Ohhira's Probiotics. Dr. Ohhira's Probiotics is a live probiotic encapsulated in small, easy-to-swallow capsules that delivers Dr. Ohhira's signature blend of pre, pro, and postbiotics. Dr. Ohhira's award-winning formula contains a prebiotic blend of fruits and vegetables, which are naturally fermented with 13 strains of live probiotic bacteria for a minimum of 3 years. The result? Dr. Ohhira's game-changing postbiotic metabolites, which are key to supporting long-term digestive, immune, and cognitive function. Dr. Ohhira's Probiotics, an all-star formulation and the best probiotic on the market today for overall digestive health and wellness. Dr. Ohhira's Probiotics, available at Sprouts, Natural Grocers, and other natural health retailers nationwide.
Thanks for listening, and thanks for supporting our sponsors. They are what make intelligent medicine a continuing free resource to you. And now back to today's guest, Jim Laval. The rationale, I think, for the reishi is that it's somewhat of an adaptogen, so it may work on the what's called the HPA axis, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just throwing that out there. Could that help to check excessive production of cortisol, for example, that interferes with sleep?
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah. So, reishi is, once again, works on the HPA axis. It's working on your brain to tell you, hey, you know what? It's not a white tiger you're chasing. It's email.
Okay.
It's not a white tiger. And because what happens is people get into allostatic load, right? Your brain is in allostasis, and that is when you're sleeping well and managing your stress, and your circadian rhythm of all your hormones are intact. And then as you get under more stress, you get into, and over time, you get into something called allostatic load, where your brain changes its behavior pattern.
Yeah.
And so the reason adaptogens are so valuable is because they help keep the brain from changing its pattern.
And this could be a vicious cycle because sleep deprivation in and of itself primes one for lack of resilience and, ultimately changes that are unhelpful to subsequent sleep.
That's exactly right. Yeah, no, it is a vicious cycle, right? Then you get into kind of fear of sleeplessness.
Yeah, that
right. That's the big one. That's when you start getting into trouble, right? And look, it's a problem because we're a caffeinated, nicotinated society now.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? We're a lot of stimulus. So this is what's nice about this is you get a very good combination of compounds that quiet the mind, act on the receptors that calm you down. And they're all in a clinical dose.
Yeah.
So I think it's brilliant.
Apropos of that, this is just parenthetical. I had my German class today. I have it on Zoom because our teacher's in Switzerland, and we were discussing the difference between Germans and Americans. And it was pointed out that Germans have a different attitude towards work, and Europeans in general. And in fact, many corporations have rules against sending email past 7 o'clock. Now, with all the different companies that you've worked for, how many emails do you get, way into the night? And then you have to put your phone on silence, right? Just to shut off the stream of, sometimes disconcerting emails like, hey, we're in trouble with this. We got to fix this. And it's like, I need to go to sleep. But I think that's from a societal standpoint, I think we need more of that in the United States.
Oh no, I think it'd be healthy as all get out, right? It's the same thing as actually the month of August. Certain countries take the whole month off.
Yeah,
right. I mean, I don't know if we could get that done here, but I think we certainly, we could sure take weekends off.
Right. The only trade-off is that we would have like 0.4% GNP growth per annum, so that there is a trade-off. So.
It's true. Anyway. Well, the other thing that's interesting about the reishi mushroom is it does have that. It's kind of got that gut-brain connection because it does help with building serotonin in the gut.
Oh, okay, that's another factor. Yes,
so it does help with building serotonin in the gut and dampening your basically your amygdala, right? That subconscious stress response. that kind of ripples through your brain,
Yeah.
and before you know it, you're thinking, why am I wide awake? It's 11 o'clock at night. I'm staring at the wall, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's a just fantastic combination. But look, I mean, the other thing is, I always tell people, you know what, you should probably 3 times a day for 2 or 3 minutes just stop and do some box breathing and reset your nervous system.
Hmm.
If you're in this cycle of bad sleep,
Yeah.
you really do have to learn how to manage that stress during the course of your day as well. I think
Yeah.
it's pretty important, because I
Indeed.
think we still live in this, you know, oh, problem solution. Well, the problem with sleep pattern disruptions is you're probably living a hyper stressed life, and sometimes it's unavailable, right?
Right.
I'm working 2 jobs. I'm a single parent. Maybe I've got a child on the spectrum, which isn't rare anymore.
Yeah.
And so, it's kind of owning that. And what do I take in order to make sure I can overcome?
Indeed. Yeah. And, I just want to say that I think people who are into natural medicine are looking for a one-to-one equivalence between a sleep medication and something that they get out of a supplement bottle. And indeed, these things are beneficial and more benign, less habit-forming, less sedating, less in the way of long-term cognitive side effects,
Oh,
because people who take these sleep medications day in and day out, there's a cognitive debt on the brain. It actually kind of, numbs your cerebral cortex. But that being said, I think that addressing sleep really needs to be an all of the above approach. We need sometimes cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia.
yes.
We need sleep hygiene. Often intervention by a sleep professional can make a difference. So don't necessarily seek to knock yourself out with a whole bottle of Kyolic Specialty Series sleep mushrooms. If you've got a fundamental stress issue or sleep hygiene issue, fix it. Work on sleep and make sleep your friend and your refuge.
And a lot of people don't realize the most common sleep medications, they deplete
Well,
melatonin.
you're a pharmacist, so you can speak to that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they deplete melatonin. I remember, I'd see people that are on Ambien or taking some Xanax or a little Ativan, whatever. And, 6 months in, they're starting to have cognitive issues.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, I'm feeling foggy headed. I don't feel refreshed. I stayed unconscious, but I don't feel refreshed. And it turns out obviously when you deplete melatonin, you never go into deep sleep. So your brain, even though you're unconscious due to the drug, your brain never gets the full signal to repair, to create lymphatic drainage,
Yeah.
right? Because
Explain
you got
that,
to go
because
in.
that's kind of a newer concept, but I think, we talked, during the Korean War and, the Manchurian Candidate, we talked about brainwashing, but actually brainwashing is a real physiologic thing we've discovered. So talk about that.
I love that. Yeah, yeah. Brainwashing is kind of important. There's only two things that do it. You can either exercise or you can sleep. And if you don't sleep, we always hear about the lymph system, right? And I think everybody's familiar with the lymph system and the
Your
lymph
lymph
nodes
nodes under
cleaning
your
things
arm, and
up,
right,
lymph
that,
drainage,
yeah,
where
yeah,
the lymph gets rid of the bad stuff. Well, it turns out that you have a glymphatic system, glial lymphatic system. So the glial cells of the brain are kind of like the immune patrollers, right? They're the state troopers for the brain. So when you don't sleep, you don't get rid of the waste products from brain metabolism. And what happens is you start to collect protein aggregates. And protein aggregates aren't so good for keeping your neurons
hmm
functional.
hmm
You basically start to damage the neurons, and they die, and then you accelerate. The laminin, neurolaminin. There's these alpha synuclein. There's all these different aggregates that get released, which trigger more inflammation. So a good night's sleep is crucial to brain health. It's
Indeed.
that simple.
Indeed. All right. Good point at which to pause, because we divide our podcast in two parts. Next, I want to talk about the impact of certain mushroom species on cognition. And I'm not talking about, magic mushrooms, psilocybin, things like hallucinogenic mushrooms, but it turns out that there is a really plausible argument to be made for supporting cognitive function with certain species of mushrooms. And
Oh yeah.
Wakanaga is tapping into that with a new line, Kyolic Specialty Series Smart Mushrooms. And today's call to action is that we want to direct you to Kyolic.com. Visit Kyolic.com or call 1-800-421-2998. You can find out about Kyolic Specialty Series mushrooms. Their Kyolic products are ubiquitous. They're available at your local natural health food stores nationwide and online. And they just brought this new mushroom series into retail stores. For more information about Kyolic or to find a retailer near you, visit Kyolic.com. And when we return, more from today's great guest, Jim Laval. I'm Dr. Ronald Hoffman, and this is the Intelligent Medicine Podcast.